This is not clickbait. This is a serious warning to all those motorhomers that use A-frames. So make sure you watch right through to the end. Welcome back to the channel. And we did promise you a motorhome related video this time after all of the videos of us moving house. And we'll be back on the road again in just under 2 weeks. We were hoping that that was going to be our next video, other than the Vanners collaboration, which will come out on the 12th of March. So, A-frame. We've done a video on an A-frame before, and the content of that is still correct. It talks about how you use it, what it comprises of, and we'll put the link in the description down below. But this is about a serious issue that's come to light a week ago for us, and we do think it's worthwhile telling everybody about it. So, as many of you may know, we tow our up GTI behind our motorhome using an A-frame, and it was something we wanted to do, gives us more flexibility, so we decided that we were going to get an A-frame. At the time we had a Citroen C1, and quite frankly the cost of the A-frame and everything that goes with it was going to cost us more than that little car was worth. So we decided to buy a new car especially for this purpose. So we got the up and had it fitted. Wasn't easy deciding where to have it done. We looked at all sorts of things and videos online and other motorhomers. Quite frankly, a lot of the people we contacted, some didn't even bother to come back to us. Others had such long lead-in times, and eventually, although there was still quite a long lead-in time, we went with L&B Tow Bars and Trailers in Bristol. They seemed very professional, and we decided to use them. So we turned up there. Actually, it was our wedding anniversary, and we spent the night on their car park, or in their car park. They've got electric hookups. It's very good. You can stay overnight. And the work was going to be done the following day. Very romantic. It was our wedding anniversary, but that's another story. We still managed to have a bottle of wine. So the following day, they started on the van and on the car, and it took them all day. Luckily, they'd given us a loan car, so we went and explored the area, and we came back, and it wasn't ready till about 6 o'clock. So as we were pulling away, and as would later become apparent because we decided to do a local pub stopover because time had got on, we had a problem. And that problem was the tow bar was hitting the ground. It was grounding out. And we were really worried that this was going to do some damage. So we settled in for the night, and the following morning we rang L&B and said what was happening. They gave us a quick choice, quite abruptly, but very quickly. They said, well, we can take it off. Yeah. Or you could have airbags fitted, which will raise the back of the van. Why they didn't realise when they were fitting it, the clearance between the tow bar and the ground was not going to be satisfactory, I don't know. Maybe they wanted to sell airbags, I don't know. I'm a bit of an old cynic. But they got a solution. We didn't really want to take it off, because after all, that's what we wanted to do. And it'd leave holes in things. So we quickly made the decision to go for airbags. So the following day, they fitted airbags on our Contiki, and I have to say they were well worth having, and we were pleased. Actually, the difference in the ride on the Contiki, let alone the clearance it gave for the towing, was really helpful. So we thought we were all sorted, and away we went towing our little up with its now raised backside of the Contiki. So we were £3,000 lighter. That was just for the airbags, not for the original A-frame, etc. But yeah, we were pleased, so away we went. Now, I know you're wanting to get to the dangerous bit, but we do have to tell the tale, because what we found out last week really had been going on for quite a period of time. So we need to tell the story. And we're going to digress a little bit here, because we're going to digress into the airbags. I don't know if it's just us that's unlucky, but anyway, we noticed that we were losing pressure in one of the airbags. Only slowly, but it was losing pressure, so it didn't seem right. And then while we were on the motorway, on the M5, I think it was, near Birmingham, suddenly there was a big bang, and the vehicle swerved, and there was no pressure left in the airbag at all. One of them had burst. So we dropped the pressure on the other one, and we contacted LMB, and they said, you're going to have to fetch it back. Well, at this stage, we were halfway down the M5. We were on our way, actually, to the Cotswolds, to the Caravan and Motorhome Club site in Burford, which is by the Cotswold Wildlife Park. And we'd arranged to meet Alan's sister and her husband there for 5 days. They had a van at the time as well. So we carried on to Burford, and Alan then, the following day, took the van back into LMB. And as always, they made time for us and dealt with things very quickly. And it appeared there was a leak. Well, one of them had burst, and they replaced the airbag. And so while Sandra and I had spent our day at the Cotswold Wildlife Park looking at lions and rhinos and having a really nice time, poor Alan had to drive down to Bristol. I was expecting him back, but then got a phone call because he got as far as Stroud, about 50 miles from Bristol, on the way back, and they were still losing pressure. So we'd rang LMB again, and the receptionist, who I appreciate is no technician, said, oh no, they do lose a bit. But Alan said, this isn't right. It just isn't right. So back he goes to Bristol, and they tested them, and every single airbag had a leak. So we had to get the whole lot replaced, which they did there and then. And they said, oh, it just must have been a faulty batch. Well, that didn't compensate us for Alan's day and the petrol and the inconvenience. But they had fitted us in, they had sorted it, so we weren't going to make a mountain out of a molehill. And Alan eventually got back to Burford late afternoon with complete new airbags fitted all around the van. By now, we'd had enough of our Kontiki, and the computer says no attitude from the service people at Brown Hills. So this time we said no, and we made them buy it back off us, which they did. And we ordered a brand new Cartago, which arrived in Guernsey in November 2022. And we'd had a tow bar fitted as part of the spec. So she was delivered in November. We were going to get everything inside and take off, quick trip round the UK and then over to Europe, which we actually did. But for the UK part of it, we wanted to make sure that the tow car worked. So we're in the drive and Alan's hitching it up and we're thinking everything's going to be fine. But to our astonishment, the dash on the Cartago lit up like Blackpool illuminations with flashing lights going off everywhere. And when you tried to turn it off, it wouldn't go off. It just kept running. And the only way you turned it off was when you disconnected the electrics from the car, from the tow car. So what were we going to do here? So we got hold of a local auto electrician, and he was a bit flummoxed. So he rang L&B. And again, they were really helpful over the phone. And they said, yeah, Iveco. Yeah, you need a resistor fitting to the tow car, otherwise this does happen. So the auto electrician, under their guidance, was able to fit a resistor, and that did the trick. Unfortunately, the quality of the resistor he fitted meant that it did actually reoccur, but that's because we haven't got everything on island. But anyway, that was our first experience with the Cartago and the tow car. But we were sorted, so off we went. Things didn't continue to go well. We're now at Easter 2023. And we were towing the car up to York, and we'd had a lovely trip, actually. It was quite uneventful. And we got to York, got a great pitch. We weren't in Roundtree, the one close into York. We were in the one that's further out, Beechwood, I think it is. Anyway, very nice site. And we got a big pitch, so we could just pull up on the pitch with the car on the back. So we didn't look too closely when we first got there. So we're setting ourselves up, and then we noticed the front of the up. And the tow hitch is kind of sideways, and it's cracked all the bumper around the hole that you put the pin and turn it in. And it's moving, and it's just absolute. Well, it was quite frightening to look at. I mean, we obviously towed quite a considerable distance with it like that. My God, anything could have happened. But this was the Thursday before Easter. So from the Friday through till the end of the Monday was a bank holiday. So there wasn't a lot we could do. So we managed to ring up LMB, and they said, well, you can fetch it into us. We're in York. They're in Bristol. And they couldn't do it, obviously, until the bank holiday was over. So that was going to be the Tuesday. So we settled down for the Easter weekend in York, which was nice. We did have a lovely time. Then we were faced with taking two vehicles separately from York to Bristol, which we did on the Tuesday. But it's quite a distance, and it's not the nicest of drives. It's all motorway. Just one good thing, I wasn't going to lose sight of a great big Cartago in front of me. So, but I do like to sit in the van and enjoy it with Alan driving, not be chasing it down the motorway all the way from York to Bristol. But yes, they'd been good to the word. They got us fitted in straight away again when we got there. Well, they took it into the workshop. They stripped the bumper off the front, and actual fact, they replaced the crash bar itself. I don't know exactly what happened to it. Maybe it was cracked, but they were fairly quick to accuse Alan of reversing it. We hadn't reversed it, definitely not reversed it. We know that's not a clever thing to do, and actually it's quite awkward, despite the fact that they do show it reversing a little way on some of their videos. But, well, they just looked at us with a, yeah, I know, look. But they did replace the crash bar. And we did ask them, are you going to have it tested? Because, of course, this could happen to somebody else. And they said, oh, yeah, we'll send it away and get it tested. But for now, we had a new crash bar on there, so we thought we'd be fine. But I have to say, it did shake our faith a bit in the whole arrangement, really. Not necessarily the A-frame itself, because that's not where the problem was, as you'll see. And in actual fact, we think we've sorted where the problem is now, but we weren't aware of that until last week. We'll come on to that shortly. So, they replaced the crash bar. Once again, we were pleased with them, even though their attitude was a little abrupt and even accusatory. And off we went. And over time, we were still very nervous about the hitch and the fact it could happen again, and nobody had said they were going to do anything about the damage to the bumper, but we let it go because they had been good. They had got us back on the road, but after a while it started moving from side to side again. And by this stage we got it booked in for its third and final inspection, because there's a 3-year warranty with it, and that was in August of 2024. And when we arrived and they took the bumper off to inspect it, there was clearly a problem. There was a crack. They weren't going to be able to get us back on the road. We were booked in for 1 o'clock, and they said, oh no, it's a long job, this. But what were we going to do? We were on holiday. So they did sort us out. We don't know what they did. They welded it in some way, but they didn't let us in to see what was being done. And Alan asked them how the test had gone on the first crash bar we got as to the metallurgy of the crash bar. Oh no, perfect, he said, not a problem, like kryptonite, this stuff. Well, I actually rate Superman's chances against this particular batch of kryptonite, as you'll see. So, yet another trip and yet another abrupt finish. So, another quite abrupt finish, and the bumper wasn't aligning with the wing. And Alan pointed this out, and Lee said, well, not a lot I can do about that now, but we'll take a look at it. So next time you're around, we'll take a look. We'll get back to you, because they hadn't got another crash bar that they could fit, or so he said he'd come back to us. Well, we didn't hear anything. That was in the August. And then coming on to September, we still hadn't heard, so I emailed them and asked them what was happening. And now, I suppose, not unsurprisingly, we didn't hear. Well, the rest of the year we were kind of occupied, because Alan had a further operation in October, and then once he'd recovered, we sold our house. So we've been moving house, as you know. So we decided to take it up again, because Alan was so fed up with seeing this misaligned bumper, and the damage was still there from where they'd torn the bumper in the first place. And he was so fed up with it, and quite frankly, I was fed up with him mentioning it every time he walked up to the car. So we decided to take it in to a local body shop here in Guernsey, thinking it would be a quick job. They'd just realign the bumper, we'd pay them, and we'd just take it on the chin. That was not what happened. So this is where the full extent of the problem became apparent. This is the danger bit of the video, and this most definitely is not clickbait. It appears that the misalignment of the bumper principally is as a result of the welding they'd done, which actually touched it, and so it pushed it forward and the clips weren't able to connect. But that was the least of our worries, because when they took the whole assembly apart, there was a huge crack. Any assembly is only as good as its weakest link, and this had gone so that we had just a little tiny bit without a crack, which meant that the whole thing was moving, which in turn meant that the pegs could move and were breaking the welds, and we think that is what the problem's been all along. Now, forgive me, I'm going to get a little bit technical here, because you need to know where the problem is, because if you've got it or need to look for it, you need to know where to look. Alan's drawn me a diagram, which I will share with you. I'm going to get Alan to come a bit closer with the camera so that we can actually explain to you where the problem is. And obviously, there are photos. Right, I'm going to try and explain this diagram. Alan, chip in if I get all this wrong, won't you? That's the front of the car. That's your pin that goes through and turns and connects through the hole in the crash bar. That is the crash bar. These come out from the crash bar back to the chassis of the vehicle, and they're designed to crumple if there is an impact. So the whole thing is a safety issue. Across here, you've got a plate, and it's these plates where there is a problem, and that plate is then bolted onto the chassis. Now this plate here is only about, 1 mil, which really is not kind of strong enough, because these
just a little bit stronger than a bean can, I'd say.
Stronger than a bean can, yeah. Well, I don't like the idea of towing my up with a bean can.
Yeah.
But the point is that one of them is there already, because you've got a tow hitch on a vehicle, but it's only designed really to sort of pull you onto a low loader or out of the mud or something like that. The other one they create in similar fashion, but it's not really designed to tow a vehicle, a one-ton vehicle at 60 mile an hour behind a motorhome. This is designed for impact and compression. It's not designed for tension and pulling. So it's
Especially
really
not a one-ton vehicle at 60 mile an hour.
right, exactly. So really, they're using something by using a system that is not what it's designed to do. So the thing needs to be modified really, and it isn't modified. And I don't think this is an LMB issue, because they'll buy these crash bars and these things. They'll all probably go to the same.
They actually have them modified.
They do have them modified.
Yeah, he's got his own welder that modifies them.
Right.
And it's what we're having done is this plate here,
Yeah.
rather than 1mm, they're taking a little bit off the back of it and putting a 3mm plate on.
Right.
And remanufacturing it.
And that bit coming off the back is so that hopefully the bumper will fit on the front.
Yes.
But it might not, because it might have got memory in its shape by now. So we might end up with a new bumper as well.
Yeah, well, it's already going to cost over £2,000 to modify it. So
we've got a new crash bar, we've got the fabrication, which apparently they're saying is going to be about 12 hours at £75 an hour.
Yeah.
And then potentially also a new bumper, which is cracked anyway because of this. So this is expensive, but it's not the expense I'm concerned about. And we will show you where the crack is in these photographs that are coming now, because this is really, really scary.
Lethal.
Lethal. Yeah.
Okay.
Right, now we've moved the camera back from its overhead position. I just want to make it clear that we're not after getting anything out of this. The A-frame's out of warranty, and the reason we've still made contact with LMB is they need to know about this. The reason we've made this video is because you need to know about this. And I'm just going to read you the last email we sent, which was on Wednesday of week just gone. We're now on Sunday, to LMB, and this makes it clear as to why we are bringing this to light, and I think its contents tell a tale. Further to our email below from yesterday, the crash bar has now been further inspected, and as shown in the attached photos, it has suffered a catastrophic failure. The vehicle is not safe to be towed, and the crash bar needs to be replaced. The vehicle is currently off-road, as of course the damage also compromises the integrity and safety of the vehicle. Yeah, we're upless at the moment. And then I continued, it's clear that the parts fitted by yourselves are not fit for their purpose and may be dangerous. The tow car becoming detached as a result of such a failure could have fatal consequences. This is not just an issue for us and our expense, time and inconvenience, but it may also be an issue for other customers, and we feel duty-bound to bring this to your attention. Can we please have your comments and proposals? We're waiting for the formal estimate to replace the crash bar and make the car safe, but your response in the meantime would be appreciated. We just felt they needed to know, and that was accompanied by photographs, some of which we've put in this video. So, we are seriously worried of the potential lethal consequences which we have pointed out to LMB and pointed out now to everybody in this video. You may care to get your vehicle inspected, And I do hope this is an isolated incident, and although it's bad luck for us, I do hope it isn't actually the case for everybody.
Bad luck, but 3 times? That'd be a lot of bad luck.
It would be a lot of bad luck. And the last thing I want to do is to be going down a UK motorway leaving a trail of carnage behind us, because we were totally unaware until they stripped the vehicle.
It's
I mean,
a 6.7
total.
ton vehicle, we wouldn't even feel it
No,
coming adrift.
no. As I say, may not be specific to LMB and the parts they use. It may affect anybody's, but really, whatever make, you need to be aware of it so that you can check and make sure this isn't happening to you. So, sorry for the somewhat serious content of this video. I do hope you found it useful. I normally say hope you've enjoyed it, but I hope you found it useful. And if you did like, then please give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. It is free. And we'll catch you on the next one, which hopefully will be a lot jollier and hopefully will be in a repaired up. So, cheers.